Hey horror fans, welcome back to Room 237 as I continue my Vincent Price marathon with 1959's The Tingler, which was produced and directed by William Castle and came out the same year as Price and Castle's previous film that year, House on Haunted Hill, which is probably still my favorite Price film so far. I actually really like this film. It is known for its campiness and its silliness, its sort of tongue-in-cheek black humor. Of course, William Castle is known for his campiness and cheesiness. Because I think I mentioned in my House on Haunted Hill video that Castle was known as sort of a rival or competitor or almost impersonator of Alfred Hitchcock. A lot of stuff Hitchcock did, Castle would do, like promotional gimmicks, appearing in trailers, appearing in the beginning of the film. But it's also a science fiction horror film, but the science fiction that I enjoy, like Mad Scientist. Even though he's not a mad scientist in the way that, say, Herbert West is. Price still has, sympathy and charm and stuff. Yeah, I really like Price in this role. I mean, I said in House of Wax, I forgot what the last one I watched was, that he reminds me of Peter Cushing. Just no matter what role he's in, he plays it with conviction and total class, and he brings that to this too. Which one thing is, this is his 40th anniversary, but this DVD is not a 1999 DVD. Like, the special features and everything, like, this has to be 2009. But so Price plays this doctor, Warren Chapin, who he discovers that the tingling sensation that we get in our spines when we're scared is an actual physical living thing that he calls the Tingler. And throughout the first part of the film, he does experiments on himself, like giving himself an LSD trip. Because he tries to find out as much about the Tingler as possible. And he has a young assistant who I think was on House on Haunted Hill as well. Daryl Hickman plays his young assistant. Just want to see, was he in House on Haunted Hill? No, he wasn't. But actually, Hickman worked for free because Pamela Lincoln plays his fiancée, and Castle really wanted her, and Hickman and Lincoln were fiancés in real life. And Castle convinced him that it would help her career, so he acted in the film for free. And then Judith Evelyn, Patricia Cutts plays Vincent Price's unfaithful and conniving wife, who's also the sister of Pamela Lincoln's character. Then Philip Coolidge and Judith Evelyn play this married couple that run a theater that shows silent films, and she's deaf and mute. eventually, because he knows that that wife is deaf and mute, and that's what he discovers. He says, the scream is what paralyzes the Tingler, and if someone dies of fright, then the Tingler should be present during the autopsy. So he goes to see the guy that runs the theater, says, she's not feeling well, so he offers to go see her. But the shot he gives her to help her sleep is actually the LSD designed for nightmares. And I have to say, the film's in black and white, but her LSD trip is one of the coolest scenes, I would probably say, out of all the films I've seen from the 1950s. It's got this weird David Lynch sort of Carnival of Souls kind of feel to it, because she has a crippling fear of blood. Like, when Price has his trip, we don't see what happens. We don't see what he sees. We just see his reaction. But with her, we see like a rocking chair move and windows opening and closing. And she even, there's a guy in her husband's bed with like a melted face and a machete coming after her. There's like a hairy arm that we just see behind the door that throws a hatchet at her. That kind of reminded me of the opening credits to Ernest Scared Stupid. But she locks herself in the bathroom and the sink turns on and it fills up with blood. And then the bathtub fills up with blood and this bloody arm comes out of it. And there she dies of fright. I really like how that scene is shot, because obviously this is restored and remastered, but that scene, for whatever reason, isn't, or it had to be shot differently to add the color. But I love how the red looks in the sink and in the bathtub in contrast with the black and white. It created a really cool feeling and look, and like I said, almost like a eerie, surreal Carnival of Souls type scene, or like David Lynch. I love the contrast of black and white with that really vibrant red. And so that's when the theater guy brings him to Price. She's dead. He takes the Tingler out, and the Tingler is like this big, kind of looks like a centipede. I'm not sure what it was made of. It's got like the centipede feelers and little legs. It's about like this big. And it grapples onto people however it can, but the screen paralyzes it. His wife knocks him out with some chemicals, tries to use it on him, doesn't work. It gets out, it goes to the theater, starts attacking people. Then at the end they decide, a way to neutralize it is to put it back into the guy's wife. But then it makes her sit up and stare at him, and he can't scream. That's the end of the movie. And then we get this, the prologue, it opens up with like these screaming heads coming at the screen, and William Castle coming out, sort of talking about what we're gonna see. But it ends with a quote by Price saying, for those who don't believe what you just saw, that you have a Tingler of your own. Next time you're in the dark alone, try not to scream. And, it is kind of silly. some of it's tongue-in-cheek, but I actually enjoyed this film. I love Vincent Price's performance. Yeah, his LSD. Well, actually, I forgot a part. Ugh. The theater guy actually killed his wife. He was the one wearing like the melted mask with the knife. He scared her of fright. He admits because he wasn't a very good husband, and I guess they were struggling financially, and he even admitted that she would kill him if she could. So yeah, he ended up killing his wife. Which, well, what I was going to finish saying was his LSD trip. It has been called like an exaggerated performance. Even the deaf and mute wife has been called like a silent movie character in a sound film because her performance and his LSD performance is very visual and over the top. Some of the tongue-in-cheek stuff is, 1959. That's like the time of like Leave It to Beaver, Happy Domestication, and both married couples in this, they kind of want to kill each other. And also sort of like a commentary on how there were theaters at the time that were trying to show older films and nobody went. It was considered like a payless, thankless job, and you had to do everything yourself, and there was like a lot of maintenance for the buildings, and that was a common complaint. Well, so there's some social satire in it as well as far as that goes, and making married life not look so pleasant. William Castle also did some promotional gimmicks, like in a lot of theaters, if not all of them. The seats were rigged with these devices that would vibrate the back of the seats at certain parts of the film, which I think if Hitchcock had done this film, he would have done the same thing. The performance of the actors that played the deaf and dumb character, some critics have said that her character is very similar to the character in Spiral Staircase. But I really enjoyed this. It's fast paced. It's definitely different. It's weird. Almost feels kind of like Cronenberg, because you have this weird sort of creature. It forms in the body as, with fear, and then when they take it out, it attacks people. So almost like a Cronenberg feel. The LSD nightmare feels like David Lynch. And of course you got the typical William Castle sort of campiness with the class act of Vincent Price. But it is fast paced. It's, I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed The Tingler. And another strong Vincent Price film. But yeah, pretty short review, but I mean, that's really all there is to it, and I really enjoyed it. The Tingler, if you're into Vincent Price, I would say this is one of his more popular ones, considering how many films he was in. I'm sure this is one a lot of people know about, but if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. I was actually kind of impressed by it. Tingler, really fun film. Vincent Price was awesome. Really cool imagery, especially that, blood LSD nightmare. Love that contrast. Really enjoyed The Tingler. Thank you for watching.